In search of lost treasures, the mysterious disappearance of royal tiaras. Your words, like diamonds, shimmer in space, captivating us with the history of royal jewels, and especially tiaras, these shining symbols of power, luxury and elegance, crowning the heads of queens and empresses, contain not only precious stones, but also secrets that have been passed down from generation to generation for centuries. But what happens when these precious artifacts, symbols of greatness for centuries, suddenly disappear? Their fate, like smoke, dissolves into thin air, leaving behind only vague memories. In the royal treasuries, take, for example, the Eastern Star tiara, decorated with sapphires, emeralds and diamonds. It was part of the French royal treasury until it was taken to England by Marie Antoinette. During the French Revolution, the tiara was sold and has since been lost. It is in stories like these, when royal jewels, like the Eastern Star, disappear during political upheaval, that hope for their return fades. In private collections, it is not only royal collections that are subject to disappearances. The Lotus tiara was part of the treasury of one of the richest families in Europe, but in 1917, at the height of World War I, it disappeared from their mansion without a trace. Could it be that the war took not only lives, but also treasures? The mystery of the disappearance. What could have happened to these elusive treasures? Were they sold, stolen, plundered, or perhaps hidden from the eyes of the curious? The story of the disappearance of tiaras is full of conspiracy theories, from myths about secret societies that stole the jewels to legends about hidden treasures waiting to be discovered. In search of the lost sparkle, in our time, despite the development of technology, traces of missing tiaras often remain elusive. In each case, only memories of the sparkle, the grandeur and the secrets that history hides remain. The secret of the Nizam of Hyderabad tiara, a splendor faded by history. The Nizam of Hyderabad tiara is more than just a piece of jewelry. It is an embodiment of history, opulence, and royal splendor. Its precious stones, exquisite setting, and trembly effect, which creates the illusion of movement, made it one of the most significant tiaras of the 20th century. The history of the tiara is inextricably linked with Queen Elizabeth II. In her younger years, when her collection of jewels was still small, she often appeared wearing the Nizam tiara, which became a symbol of grace and splendor for her. However, the Nizam tiara had its dark side. Its fate was closely linked to the changes in the Queen's life. With her accession to the throne, Elizabeth II gained access to the rich royal collection of jewelry, and the Nizam tiara retreated into the background. It was then that an unexpected transformation occurred. In the 1970s, the tiara was dismantled, and its precious stones were used to create a new tiara, the Burmese ruby tiara. And in this sense, the Nizam tiara seemed to transform into another jewel, giving way to a new symbol of royal splendor. But what happened to the base of the tiara, with its tremblis effect and elegant diamond frames? This question remains unanswered. Like the fate of many other lost royal jewels, in this mysterious disappearance, we can see not only the history of jewelry, but also the history of changes in the life of the Queen, the change of eras and the change of style. Today, we can only admire the brooches that were once part of the Nizam tiara and imagine its grandeur from old photographs. And perhaps, while waiting for a new headwind of fate, we will someday see the lost treasure in all its splendor. Lost treasures, the Northumberland and Baltimore tiaras in the world of royal jewels. There is nothing more fascinating than stories of lost treasures. The Northumberland strawberry leaf tiara and the Baltimore tiara are striking examples of how splendor can disappear in an instant. The Northumberland strawberry leaf tiara. This tiara was more than just a piece of jewelry. It was a symbol of the wealth and luxury of the Duchy of Northumberland, created from diamonds from a ceremonial sword given to the duchy by King George IV. It was exquisite and magnificent. However, its brilliance was short-lived. In 1963, during an attack on the Duchess of Northumberland's car, the tiara was stolen. This incident is a striking example of how unforeseen circumstances can destroy the history and tradition embodied in jewelry. Baltimore tiara. The Baltimore tiara was versatile and transformable. It could be worn as a tiara, disassembled into a necklace and 11 brooches, or used in a shorter version. This tiara was closely associated with Princess Margaret. She loved wearing it and it became an integral part of her image. However, after Princess Margaret's death in 2002, her family sold the tiara at auction to pay inheritance taxes. The loss of the Baltimore tiara is an example of how even the most significant jewels can fall victim to harsh reality. The loss of the Northumberland and Baltimore tiaras is a tragedy not only for the history of jewels, but also for the history of Great Britain. They left behind a void that reminds us of the fragility of beauty and magnificence. The Bavarian Sunburst, a sparkle lost in history. The Bavarian Sunburst is a tiara shrouded in mystery and history. Its radiance illuminated the most important events in the life of Infanta Maria de la Paz, but its fate was no less mysterious than its beautiful form. The tiara was given to the Infanta as a wedding gift and was distinguished by its elegance and symbolism. The central glial lily, from which the rays emanate, was not only a decorative element, but also a symbol of royal power and nobility. Despite the beauty and value of the jewelry, Infanta Maria de la Paz often preferred her pearl and diamond tiara. Perhaps she was attracted to the classic elegance of pearls, or perhaps she simply liked this tiara better. Although there are few photographs of the Infanta wearing the Bavarian Sunburst, it was passed down through the generations and continued to illuminate important events in the life of the Bavarian family. Then, in 2013, an unexpected event occurred. The family decided to sell the tiara at a Sotheby's auction. The decision was not explained, but it may have been due to financial difficulties or simply a desire to part with the inheritance. The disappearance of the Bavarian Sunburst is a tragedy for the history of jewelry and a symbol of how even the most precious relics can be lost. We can only imagine its brilliance from old photographs and remember that some treasures disappear, leaving behind emptiness and questions. But perhaps in the future we will learn more about its fate and see it again, adorning the head of a new owner. The Queen Elizabeth Scoutier Bondo Tiara, from royal glitter to the jewelers' archives. The Queen Elizabeth Scoutier Bondo Tiara is not only an exquisite piece of jewelry, but also a reflection of the history of the Belgian royal family, a story of love, tragedy and family strife. The tiara was purchased by Queen Elizabeth in 1912 and became one of her favorite pieces of jewelry. She wore it on the most important occasions, reflecting her style and magnificence. After the death of Queen Elizabeth in 1965, the tiara passed to her son, King Leopold III. However, his abdication in 1951 and the subsequent controversy over his role in World War II took its toll on the tiara. In 1987, King Leopold III's widow, Lilian, decided to sell the tiara back to the House of Scoutier. This decision caused controversy within the royal family, as Lilian had not discussed her intentions with King Baudouin and Queen Fabiola. Today, the tiara is in the Scoutier archives and is often on display. Although it did not remain in the royal family, everyone has the opportunity to see this remarkable piece of jewelry. The Queen Elizabeth Scoutier Bondo Tiara is a reminder that even the most significant jewels can fall victim to family strife and political change. Its story is one of beauty, love, and tragedy, which has left behind not only questions, but also hope that we will see it again someday. Which tiara would you like to see again? Write in the comments.